Good morning, folks. Let's see. Good morning. Good Monday morning. I want to lift you up a little bit. You ready? Up we go. Uppity buppity. There you go. Now I can look you in the face instead of looking down on you. Good morning. So hopefully you got the message that we're not doing horsetail this week. We're going to switch that around. We had a run on horsetail. We are out of horsetail right now, which tells you what a fabulous plant it is, and we will talk about that next week. This week, then we switched with next week's class. So this week we are doing lemon balm. So lemon balm, in older texts, sometimes you'll see it referred to as balm, right? So if you see some of the old European texts, sometimes you'll see balm or balsam. You'll sometimes say, what does that mean? Oftentimes they are referring to this plant. So lemon balm. And the word balm is a contraction of the word balsam. Balsamic fragrances are things that are sweet. So it basically means the sweet smelling plant that smells like lemon. Right? Now the botanical name is Melissa. Melissa means of the bees, right? Melissa officinalis. To my knowledge, there's only one species of lemon balm, of Melissa. We have the official, so the official plant of the bees. And of course, it's called, the bee plant because it is just a sweet smelling and beloved plant for bees and for humans. Hi.
Hi.
So we switched herbs this week. We're doing lemon balm instead of horsetail because we're out of horsetail.
I just got some
So we're doing
lemon
lemon
balm.
Nice. So Melissa officinalis, the botanical name is the botanical family is Lamiaceae. Lamiaceae. So this is the mint family, and with mint family plants, hand out some leaves here. If you look at mint family plants, you'll see that the leaves, botanical identification, if you're wondering how do you identify a mint family plant, some of the ways are the leaves are opposite on the stem. See how they're across from each other? And then if you rotate it 90 degrees, there's another pair opposite. So they go straight up the stem, and those opposite, one paired on this side and then paired on this side, stacking up. And if you haven't pinched the stem like I did, if you look at it in cross-section, oftentimes you'll see that it is square in cross-section. So most of the mints are going to have, all of the mints are going to have those botanical structures on them. And then lemon balm has these crinkly little leaves, crinkly little adorable leaves, and of course the fragrance, which is an identifier. So we have the lemon balm tea. This, well, I'll tell you about this batch of tea that we have later, but this one, yeah, so the fragrance, you get that light little lemony fragrance. Now, one of the things about lemon balm is the aromatic compounds in lemon balm are very, very unstable, and they're in very low amounts in the plant. So when it's fresh, it's really lovely and lemony and fragrant. But as soon as it dries, it starts to lose those aromatic compounds. They're very, very unstable in the drying process. So lemon balm is one of these plants that 6 months after harvesting, quite often the fragrance is gone and it's sometimes indistinguishable from like nettle if you're just smelling it, because the fragrance is gone. Luckily, the fragrance is not the only part of the medicine of the plant. In fact, it's not even the most important part of the medicine of the plant. So even if you have lemon balm that is not aromatic, you might think, oh, it's no longer good. Well, it doesn't have the essential oils, and we'll talk about that chemistry, but it still has a lot of the other chemistry that makes it even more beneficial. So, but this is from Healing Spirits Herb Farm. I got 6 pounds of this lemon balm, and I wish I'd gotten more because it's gone. This harvest is gone. So this is the last of the Healing Spirits Herb Farm lemon balm, and it's just delightful. And when we taste it, we can taste that lovely lemon balm flavor, that lemony flavor.
It tastes so fresh.
And I cannot tell you how unusual it is to have a dried lemon balm that is this good. This is so good. So when we taste it, we can we get the qualities of the aromatics, right? Give that lemony flavor, and they rise up and they kind of come up into our consciousness, and they affect immediately our state. Lemon balm aromatics, the essential oils, are often associated with mood elevation as an antidepressant, as a plant that, as old English herbalists used to say, it makes the heart merry. It makes your heart happy to smell this plant, to inhale those fragrances, and to drink the aromatics, to drink the aromatic, flavorful plant. So it is just happy making in the extreme, but it has so many other benefits to it. So that is also one of the reasons for use of the essential oils as an antidepressant, as a mood elevating thing. What is not mood elevating is the price of essential oils of lemon balm. Because if you buy a, oh, Mickey, you're enjoying lemon balm from your garden. Oh, I'm glad did you have to scrape the snow away to get at the lemon balm? I'm so glad that you have some fresh lemon balm tea with us. I was going to say something and I don't remember. Good morning. So the essential oil, generally, if you buy, a small 10 milliliter bottle of essential oil, you would expect to pay a couple $100 for true lemon balm, true Melissa officinalis essential oil. A couple $100 for this size bottle, because it takes an enormous amount of the plant to extract those compounds, and they're very unstable. They're different compounds than we see in like lemongrass or lemon essential oils, which are abundant and easy to extract. These are not easy to extract. So if you're using Melissa as an aromatherapy, I strongly encourage you to just plant the plant, so that if you want the aromatherapeutic effects, go pick some of the plant and crush it up and breathe it in. And that's aromatherapy that is free and does not cost $200, because that is depressing that you would have to pay $200 for that amount of an essential oil. And quite often it is cut with other essential oils because it's so expensive. So if you do buy it, you do want to be sure that you get it from a supplier that is well known. So that's one of the reasons why we use lemon balm. Now there's another reason, having little to do with the essential oils, for lemon balm, and that is the phenolic compounds. The phenolics incorporate some of these organic acids and triterpenoids that have profound effects on our nervous system. So we have rosmarinic acid and chlorogenic and caffeic acid. And then we also have ursolic acid. And the final one, I always forget, is oleanolic. So these compounds have seem to have some of the primary effects that we associate with lemon balm. These compounds seem to be the really big hitters in lemon balm chemistry. The ursolic acid and oleanolic acid have significant effects on the production of a neurotransmitter, an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So this is a chemical in the brain that calms the brain down, that is soothing and calming. Many medications that are used for anxiety work directly on what are called GABA, which is gamma aminobutyric acid. So GABA receptors. So we have GABAergic. So GABAergic is the term for compounds that increase GABA. So GABAergic medications are a lot of the anti-anxiety medications, and they increase GABA levels in the body. You can also take GABA as a supplement. Go to a health food store and buy it and take it orally, and it's very, very nice for elevating GABA levels in the brain. But what Melissa does through action of these compounds, we believe, is that GABA as a neurotransmitter is sent along. We have nerve bodies, right? And then we have nerve bodies here, and then we have nerve bodies here. And there is as we transmit information along a nerve pathway, we have the little space between the nerves. This is called the synapse. Okay, this is the little juncture in between one nerve and another. And in order to send information along this nerve pathway, we produce neurotransmitters, right? Neurotransmitters jump this synapse. They jump from one to another, and they bind with these little dendrites right here. The dendrites are the receptors for the neurotransmitter. So they jump from one over to the other, bind to that neurotransmitter, it travels along the nerve to the nerve body, out to the next axon, and it jumps over the next synapse to the next dendrite of the next nerve body. So that's how information is passed along a nerve pathway. Now, if we had the neurotransmitters constantly going over here, we'd have constant stimulation of that nerve body, and that's not healthy. So what we do is we have the neurotransmitter jumping over there, and then there's an enzyme that is produced in the synapse that closes that stops that action from happening, right? So it's a pulsed action of production of a neurotransmitter and then production of the enzyme that breaks down that neurotransmitter, okay? So the enzymes, the enzyme for GABA is an enzyme called GABA transaminase. All right, so in some people, their brains like to produce a lot of GABA transaminase. They really like to produce that. And so we have neurotransmitters that are attempting to jump this synapse. And in those brains and those bodies, that system is so, this enzyme is elevated so much, the system is producing so much that it never actually makes the jump or doesn't make it effectively because this enzyme is constantly breaking that, right? It's like trying to have a good Wi-Fi signal and it's constantly breaking down. You're not able to send that signal accurately and reliably. So lemon balm, these compounds here help to regulate GABA transaminase and helps to decrease its activity so that you can actually have GABA making that jump. In addition, they increase the activity of the GABA receptors. So they're working on two different mechanisms on helping to decrease this and on helping to decrease the enzyme that breaks it down and increasing the ability of the nerves to absorb and use GABA. It's really, really wonderful, and it's improving the function of the system. It's making the system work the way that it's supposed to. And that's what we love about herbs that do things like this. It has a similar effect on choline. So it works on GABA, which is one neurotransmitter. And so that effect, that overall effect, is a decrease in anxiety, a relaxing effect, a nervine effect, right? Calming and soothing our nervous system. The lovely thing is that these also, along with these ones, also improve mental alertness and mental acuity. They increase attention span when they're taken in smaller amounts. And we'll talk about, there's really cool studies on this. But these ones in particular, these ones have an even stronger effect on choline. So we see an effect on GABA, and there's also an effect on choline. Acetylcholine is one of the primary stimulatory neurotransmitters in the brain. It increases memory, mental alertness, learning, the ability of the brain to process information is largely based on acetylcholine levels. And many nootropic drugs and medications, things that are used for what they call smart drugs these days, often they want to work on the choline pathways, because that is the pathway, this same type of pathway, but acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter of interest here, and cholinesterase is the enzyme. Cholinesterase breaks down that enzyme. Now, here, in some people with age-related memory disorders, with Alzheimer's, senile dementia, we have an increase, just like we were talking about the GABA, we have an increase in cholinesterase, stopping acetylcholine from making these junctures. We also have damage to the dendrites, to the receptors where the choline is being produced, so that even if it does make the jump, it's not landing on a receptor that is receptive, right? It's landing on a damaged receptor. So this seems to be one of the mechanisms by which certain types of age-related memory disorders work, is decreasing the cholinergic activity in the brain. And so lemon balm, these compounds right here, the rosmarinic acid in particular, help with regulation of choline pathways. So we have this really cool plant that is calming and relaxing, and also increasing focus and clarity, improving brain function, improving memory and alertness, especially when taken over a period of time, because we remember that when we're changing the structure of something, it always takes time, right? When you're building something, that doesn't happen right away. Now, we can have immediate effects, and we see those immediate effects on regulation of the enzymes, but it is the receptor activity, rebuilding that receptor activity, that is going to take a long time. So we have immediate effects and long-term effects from the plant. And here we have a really cool study that I have here in 2003. There we go. So, so they took 20 people. This was a study from the Human Cognitive Neuroscience Unit of the Division of Psychology at Northumbria University in UK. So they took young people. So this wasn't a study on like elders with memory disorders. This was young people with healthy nervous systems. And they gave them single doses of lemon balm, one dose. So this wasn't taking it for 3 months. This is a single dosage of the medication they gave, of the herb. They gave 600, 100, and 1600 milligrams of the herb as a capsule. So they were using a tea, they were using a capsule. So they gave them at 7-day intervals. So they would give just one dosage, and then they would have a washout period of 7 days, and they would give it again. And what they were looking at is mood and cognitive performance at post-dose, right? So they would take the dosage and they would check in with them at 1 hour after, 3 hours after, and 6 hours after the dosage to see what the effects were. And the cool thing was the most notable cognitive and mood effects were improved memory performance and increased calmness at all post-dose time points for the highest dosage. So at that 1600 milligram dosage, they noticed increased memory and also increased calm at 1 hour and 3 hours and 6 hours. However, in the lowest dosage, decrements of the speed of timed memory task performance. So this is a test where they do, you have to memorize something, you have to do something from memory and then do the task again from memory. And that test of timed memory performance decreased most notably, and rapid visual information processing tasks. So having visual information coming in and being able to process that information. Both of those effects increased with a decreased dosage. So the higher dosage had increased calmness, and that was very notable. But the ability to process information and to respond physically to information was best with the lowest dosage. So if you take one capsule of lemon balm or one small cup of tea, you're going to have a calm effect, but an increased focus effect. And the higher the dosage, the more sedating it is. But it is sedating while also increasing clarity of thought. So you're not getting a fuzziness and a fogginess along with it, right? You're getting a calmness and relaxation, but improved function. And that improved clarity of thought and function and ability to process information is going to increase because you're also getting the long-term rebuilding of neurological pathways and protection of neurological pathways. It's really phenomenal. It's really, really phenomenal. These compounds are also found in other members of the Lamiaceae family. So we also see it in tulsi, in sage, and in rosemary. So all of the Lamiaceae family plants have varying amounts of these compounds, but these compounds are found in highest amounts, particularly these three up here, which have primarily the effects on choline, are found in those plants. But the ursolic acid and oleanolic acid are found in larger amounts in lemon balm. Which is why lemon balm is much more sedating than rosemary or sage, right? Or tulsi, because those don't have the sedating effects. They don't have the GABAergic effects of the lemon balm. So the other cool effects of these compounds right here, these same compounds, the rosmarinic, caffeic, chlorogenic effects, is that those are very strong compounds for fighting herpes simplex virus, herpes simplex viruses in the body. So for use for cold sores, for shingles, for chicken pox, for herpes lesions, for all presentations of the HSV family of viruses, lemon balm is extremely effective. So we can take it as a tea or as a capsule, as a tincture. We can apply it externally. We can infuse it into oil and use it topically. My mom used to get shingles really badly. So shingles is the herpes simplex virus that lives in the nerve endings, and it comes up, it activates and comes up along those nerve pathways and can form lesions on the skin that are really, really painful. And even when they go away, there is a condition called post-herpetic neuralgia. Neuralgia is nerve pain. So post-herpetic neuralgia, even when the lesions have healed, there's incredible pain, nerve pain along those pathways. It can last for a very, very long time. And the thing about the herpes viruses is once they're in the body, they tend to be in the body. They don't go away. And so what we can try to do is take things to keep them from flare up. And lemon balm is one of the plants that we use for that with very good effects, topically and also internally. Now, a lot of people assume that antiviral effect from lemon balm is from the essential oils. And so they use the very expensive $200 essential oil on their, for that treatment. And it's not the essential oils. It's not that chemistry. It is the phenolic compounds, and they're not associated with the flavor. They're not associated with the aromatic flavor. So the wonderful thing is, even if you have old lemon balm that doesn't taste as lovely as this one, even if you have lemon balm that has no fragrance left, that is indistinguishable from nettle, it is going to have these because these are very stable compounds. These last for a long time. So old lemon balm is still going to be antiviral. It may not have the uplifting, mood elevating effects that we associate with the fragrance, but it has the therapeutic, the beneficial effects on the nervous system and the beneficial effects on fighting viruses, on fighting that virus that the phenolic compounds have. It's quite wonderful. It is also just a great nervine. So just as a general plant for improving sleep, especially when insomnia is secondary to anxiety. People who can't sleep because they're just kind of twitchy and anxious. Lemon balm is a very, very good one for that because it does help to relax the plant. You can use it as a poultice, Mickey, absolutely. So if you have the fresh plant growing, you can just grab some of the poultice and apply it, but you can also infuse it into oil and make an oil or a balm, a salve. You can use a tincture and drop the tincture into some water and apply it as a compress or just a water treatment. So pretty much any way you want to use it, you can use it because these extract nicely in a wide range of different solvents. So, but poultice is nice, especially if you have the fresh plant. But even the dried plant can be used as a poultice. Phenolics come out quite nicely in water. It grows very easily as a member of the mint family. It just spreads, planted in one place, and it's going to spread and spread and spread and spread and spread. And pretty soon you're going to have a big patch of it that you have to kind of chop up and separate out and give to friends and move into another place in your garden. But it'll just kind of spread and spread and spread. But it's so happy making to have it in your garden. It is not problematic to have an abundance of lemon balm. It will grow in a pot very easily. It grows in a pot. You can even grow it inside if you can have somewhere that, like right over there in that bright window, would be a perfect place to grow lemon balm indoors. It gets some direct light and then a lot of indirect light all throughout the rest of the day. So I strongly encourage people to grow it because it really is the flavor and fragrance of fresh. Because of that instability of the essential oils, the flavor and fragrance of fresh are unlike anything else. You know, it's so good to make the fresh plant tea. And you can just go out and harvest, you know, just a couple of, just pick off some leaves, throw them into a cup, pour some boiling water out on them, let them steep for a few minutes. They extract very, very quickly, and you have the brightest, most delicious tea, and it's really, really lovely. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. We talked. It is a great plant for children. It is really, really wonderful for infants and children. Very safe, very gentle. The flavor is so nice. It's really, really easy to give for anyone who's just kind of picky about stuff. Now, one of the things that we do want to talk about with lemon balm is because it is commonly used as as a nervine. It helps to quiet rapid heart rate. It quiets anxiety and tension. So it is often used as a plant for people with hyperthyroidism, with elevated thyroid function. So the thyroid governs metabolism. So when we have elevated thyroid function, we have rapid heart rate, we have jitteriness and irritability and anxiety, right? And so lemon balm, via its action as a nervine, is really, really lovely for hyperthyroid people or just tense and anxious people. This has led people to believe that it has a direct effect on thyroid hormones, blocking thyroid hormones, and that this has, after that, led to the belief that it cannot be taken by people who have low thyroid function. This is what I was taught in herb school. This is what I taught for many years because it was what was believed. It is now turning out to be not really the case. It is a nervine, so of course it's going to help to relax those, but it doesn't seem to have any negative effects on hypothyroid other than the fact that it is a sedative. And so if you have someone who's already got kind of low energy, they're just kind of low because their thyroid is low, then giving lemon balm can certainly feel like it is suppressing that even more, because maybe your body doesn't need to be taking something that is a pretty strong relaxant nervine, right? So choose another nervine. But there's not going to be problems with people taking it who have low thyroid function. So I do like to bring that up because it is a concern for so many people. Let's see. Contraindications. It is most plants in the mint family can have negative effects on prolactin. Prolactin is the hormone that increases breast milk production in breastfeeding people. And so when we're in active breastfeeding, generally, oftentimes we want to be cautious with plants in this family, in the Lamiaceae family. Now, the strongest one here is sage. Sage is absolutely contraindicated in pregnancy because it is a very strong anti-galactagogue. It inhibits breast milk production. But many of the other mints can also have that effect. And so, especially for people who are struggling with producing breast milk, maybe lemon balm is not the plant to use. And it would be a plant that oftentimes people think that they want to use, right? Because if you're having anxiety about not being able to produce breast milk and you think, well, lemon balm is safe, we use it in children and infants, it seems reasonable to assume that you can drink some lemon balm tea and relax, and that'll help with milk release, relaxation of milk release. But there may be a problematic effect with that, so we want to avoid that. Cool study on isolated rosmarinic acid in a 5% solution applied topically significantly lowered gingivitis plaque when compared to placebo. So it may help to protect dental health. Antiviral, yeah. So that's lemon balm. Are you feeling sleepy?
No,
Are you feeling relaxed?
I'm feeling relaxed.
Yep.
Good.
Good.
I feel good.
Good.
That's really good.
Mm.
For the dental thing, how would you apply that? Like just swish it in your
I would
mouth?
do it as you could do as a tea. I would make a tincture.
Oh.
Making a tincture, you could have that just kind of available in your
Alcohol?
bathroom, yes. And then if you have just a cup that you have there, you can just put a couple of droppers of tincture in there, or even just one, and a little bit of water, and then do a swish swish. You could even do that and maybe add to your bottle of tincture just a drop or two of like peppermint, right? To make it just for fresh. Yeah, so you can make like a mouthwash, exactly. You could also make, what would be really good, you could make a mouthwash of lemon balm. There are great studies on the use of cinnamon extracts for oral care. Really amazing studies on cinnamon's effects. So that's why you're seeing a lot of oral care products flavored with cinnamon, because the chemistry of cinnamon is really beneficial. You don't want to use cinnamon essential oil. Cinnamon essential oil is really, really intense and can cause burns on the skin. It's so hot. But you could make a tincture of lemon balm and cinnamon and maybe even some mint, right? Just kind of blend all those together and make pour some vodka over. You don't have to have exact amounts. Just put them in a jar and pour some vodka over, let them sit for a little while and strain it out. And you have a mouthwash that would be like spicy and yummy and delicious and will have really positive effects on gum disease. So that's a way you could do it. Or you could just make a tea.
Okay.
Yeah, you could just make a tea and even freeze it. Make a tea and freeze it in small amounts. And so the night before, you would thaw a little bit of tea in the refrigerator, and then after you brush your teeth in the morning, you thaw a little bit for the evening, and you just kind of that way you're not having to make a cup of tea every time you want to brush your teeth. But yeah, if you just did it in ice cubes, that actually would work really well. So lots of different ways that you could do it. So there we go with lemon balm. So next week we will do hawthorn, not hawthorn, the other H, horsetail. Next week we'll do horsetail, and yeah. Thanks for being here. I use a tooth powder. Acadian Homestead. Hi. I use a tooth powder. Would adding dried lemon balm be a good additive in there? Absolutely, you could. Yeah. So that would also be a good formula. Just drying it up and throwing it in there. Again, because it is the phenolics, you wouldn't worry. One of the things about using aromatic plants in a powder is that by powdering them, you lose all of that fragrance. But we've already ascertained that it's not the aromatics that are the problem. So yeah, grind it up and throw it in your tooth powder. That would be a great thing to do also. Yeah. All right. There we go. Thanks everyone for joining me for an exploration of lemon balm, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you.
All right.